Okay, hello everyone. So it's 2 p.m. and it's time to start our session. First of all, I would like to thank you all for joining today's event hosted by Japan Climate Initiative JCI. Path to 1.5 degrees target, Japanese non-state actors taking on challenge of decarbonization. My name is Ken Tanaka. I'm working for WWF Japan and also serving as the Secretariat member of JCI. Before starting today's program, I would like to start from a brief introduction of JCI because I think many of you, not some of you, might not know that what JCI is. Okay, JCI is an alliance of non-state actors in Japan. It was launched in 2018 with 105 members. And as of today, we have 830 members, actually 831 members. We have gotten a new member during COP29. They will include businesses, investors, local governments, universities, and the all non-state actors but the national government. So since the launch of JCI in 2018, we have been attending COP conference every year to share how Japanese non-state actors are making efforts with the world and also to learn and better understand from other non-state actors across the world what we can do and what we need to do more. And today, I hope that today's session will be an opportunity for everyone here to know what JCI members are doing to achieve 1.5 goal, and also be a chance for them to make a collaboration in the future. So please enjoy, and I hope it will help your actions too. So without further ado, now I would like to invite the first speaker, our co-representative, Sergio Cato. He is a strong advocate for climate policy and climate action. Please give him a warm welcome to the stage.
So, Excellencies and distinguished participants and speakers, I'm very honored to welcome all of you to this session hosted by Japan Climate Initiative. I'm Sergio Cato, co-representative of JCI, Japan Climate Initiatives. Today, 21st November, reaching the end of COP29 in Azerbaijan, through all events with amazing experiences for me, I have been so inspired by the fact that many non-state actors are making continuous effort and tackling the challenges they are facing, which is indispensable to achieve the 1.5 degrees goal. And also, I recognize that the expectations and the demand to the roles of non-state actors getting stronger and stronger. And JCI is not the exception. We always commit to accelerating the climate actions that everyone have to take without a single hesitation, regardless of the administrations, politics, or policies of the time. So, also recognizing that it is urgent and unwavering to work in the solidarity, to work together with national government to enhance global climate policies as ambitious loop between the non-state actors and the governments. So for this, it is critical more than ever that we, our non-state actors, have to raise a voice and deliver it to the government. In response to that role of the non-state actors, we, JCI, resubmit our joint, our joint statement, which we submitted this year, July, with additional endorsement reaching to the total 236 in the lead up to the COP29. So having this statement, we'd like to, request our government to commit ambitious NDCs in line with 1.5 degrees pathway. I can change. So at this seminar, the speakers of the JCI members take a stage and share their latest effort and then the future enthusiasm from the perspective of each sectors, not only about the climate change measures, but also nature's and biodiversity conservation. And also they discuss how non-state actors should take the climate actions further. So I'd like to welcome all distinguished speakers, and with also the distinguished panel speaker from United Nations High-Level Climate Champions team, which is leading the global net zero campaign, Race to Zero. Camila, welcome. So let's get started. Please take on the stage all the speakers. Thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this panel. I'm Miyako Enokibori of CDP. CDP is one of the secretariat of JCI, and CDP is running the global environmental disclosure platform. So today, I'm very honored to moderate this panel with the remarkable panelists to present the what we are taking, what the non-state actors of Japan is taking the action. So it's been a while since we have a 1.5 degree target. It's the commitment to the target is a kind of known for the private sector and the public sector as well. And also in the last COP28, we have a more specific pledge, including the tripling the renewable energy and doubling the energy efficiency. And also, the most importantly, the transition away from the fossil fuels. So we know where we should go. So now we need to take the action. So first of all, I'd like to hear from the three Japanese companies about how your activities committing to the 1.5 degree achievement and what your strength is, and also what do you expect from the policy or market to enhance your activities. So first, let me start with Preeti-san. the global head of sustainability of Asahi Holdings. I heard that Asahi has made and comprehensively hear from you, your story, and what makes your decision.
Hi, everybody. I think it works now. Hi, everybody. I'm very happy to be here. Before I share what Asahi is doing, let me share what Asahi is. We are a global food and beverage company. We clocked 19 billion in revenue. I think you may not know a lot of our brands in food, but I think you may know the beer brands because they're our most popular brands, Asahi Super Dry, Peroni, Kolsch. That is all from us. And we are a global company. So we are in more than 180 markets in the world. And when we talk about 1.5, by the way, excuse me, I have a little bit of a cold coming in, so sorry about that. So when we talk about what within Asahi, we quite a bit, but we realize we need to do more. But what is more? And we thought of three things. So the first was ambition. And we realized we need to up our game on ambition. And we looked at our ambition and it was net zero by 2050. And in January of this year, we moved that target from 2050 to 2040. So now we want to be net zero by 2040 across our value chain. Why? Good question. We went through the why process for a whole year. We did a lot of internal consultation on what does this mean for Asahi? Why should we do it? What happens if we don't do it? We did external consultation with science-based targets, with CDP, climate group. And what we realized was if we don't do the ambition now, we will not have enough speed to even meet our 2030 targets. So the ambition is actually helping us create momentum and speed for all of our targets, even 2025, 2030, and 2040. The second reason we did the 2040 target was completely, purely based on science and transparency. If you look at the calculations, if you look at the recommendations, it is net zero by 2040. Otherwise, we won't meet the goal. So that was the first step we took around ambition this year. The second step was innovation. We have our own in-house Asahi R&D division that does a lot of good work around sustainability R&D. Some of you who are from Japan may know we launched a vending machine that captures carbon in Tokyo last year. So we do a lot of thinking around novel technologies already, but it was not enough. We were looking inwards and we realized we need to look outwards. And in September of this year, we launched something called Asahi Sustainability Innovation Program, where we want to partner with startups, with venture capitals, with other companies on fostering new climate technologies. That was the second thing we did. And the third thing that we did was implementation. This was not new. This is something that we've been doing year on year, incremental decrease in our carbon emissions. But what we did different was, instead of a blanket target for all our countries, we are creating nuanced targets for each market based on policies, feasibility, and the strength of that asset and that company in that country. So for example, in Japan, all of our 31 plants are running on 100% renewable electricity. Perfect. Should we try doing that in Malaysia and Indonesia? Not possible right now. What we can do in Malaysia and Indonesia is we looked at the health and the social aspects of sustainability. We are looking at baby food, access for new mothers with low income on baby food, etc. What could we do in Australia? Australia is very big on plastics and packaging. And we realized that we need to do more on that. And we actually have a joint venture now in Australia. One of the biggest recycling companies in Australia is with us and Coca-Cola. So now from beer, we're going into recycling, which is completely new for us, but we are trying new things. In Europe, it made perfect sense to go for 100% renewable electricity because there's so many suppliers, it's booming there. And we are now looking at 100% renewable heat in Europe. Should we try that in Japan right now? Not really, because it's not the right moment for Japan to do it. And I think that's the luxury we all have as a global company, to be able to do different things in different markets and do more instead of doing less.
Thank you so much for your impressive leadership in the global world. So let me introduce you the next speaker, Kono-san, Representative Director, Executive Vice President, Executive Officer, and CFO from Nippon Yusen. Nippon Yusen, as you know, is a shipping company, which is known for one of the hard-to-abate sector. So as the location of the business activity is in the international sea, so I imagine that there is a unique difficulties on your side. So in this situation, how are you implementing the net zero actions into your business? Please.
Miyako-san, thank you very much. And I'm very much honored to be here to participate in this session. And as introduced by the Miyako-san, and I'm working for the shipping company, Japanese shipping company, so-called NYK Line. We are operating more than 800 vessels all over the world. And also we are consuming marine fuel oil. At this moment, mainly the fossil fuel, 3.5 million tons per annum. And other industry total consumption of the marine fuel at this moment is 240 million tons per annum. It's huge, and almost shipping industry's emission is more or less 3% of the global emission. And also the industry's uniqueness, we are not covered by the Paris Agreement, NDCs. And it's governed by the United Nations Special Agency, IMO, International Maritime Organization. Last year, we agreed, and national governments agreed to aim and net zero by the 2050. But still, we are discussing how to achieve that. That's the situation. And under the current situation, we NYK, we announced NYK decarbonization story or the strategy last year. By last year, our target was the 30% reduction compared with the benchmark year 2021. But we revised, upgraded, and our target 45% reduction by the 2030 compared with the benchmark year 2021, which is aligned with the Paris Agreement 1.5 degrees scenario. And for that's our target is covering scope 1 and 2. And also our long-term target at the net zero by the 2050 for all our operation, including scope 1, 2, 3. That's quite ambitious and challenging target because at this moment, there is no net zero, zero carbon fuel for the maritime industries. Then how to achieve that? And we released the so-called NYK decarbonization story last year. In the story, we described the detailed strategy and measures how to achieve that. By the 2030, as I explained, we don't have any net zero marine fuel. So we try to mobilize existing technologies and efficient operation as much as possible. And also we increase the usage of the biofuel this year. Then by doing so, and we try to achieve the 45% reduction of the GHG by the 2030. Beyond the 2030, now we are promoting a net zero fuel, such as the ammonia. This year, we completed the delivery of the ammonia-fueled tugboat. The tugboat is a small vessel and assisting entry and exit of the large vessel at the port. And this August, the vessel small tug is delivered to our operation. And by having operating this vessel, we try to accumulate our expertise and knowledge how to handle the ammonia. Ammonia has the toxic nature. So then that's one of the first step we do. And also we plan to deliver large-sized ammonia powered vessel in 2026. And together with our partner, engine manufacturers, and also the shipbuilders and other technical companies. At this moment, engine which can burn and ammonia is not available. That's why we are working together with the other players in the industries. So then that's our strategy, and it's quite challenging, but we hope and we can achieve that, and we remain dedicated to executing our strategy to contribute realization of the decarbonized society.
Thank you so much. I'm so impressed about not only the long-term innovation, but also the interim concrete strategy it's like a real transition plan, I think. So the third speaker, let me introduce Kishimoto-san, Corporate Officer, Environment Strategy Director, Environmental Strategy Planning Division of Hitachi. So as everyone knows, Hitachi is a global conglomerate with various business. So how do you position the net zero into your business?
Thank you very much. And my pleasure to be here because JCI is a unique organization to bring all the stakeholders to coordinate towards the environmental goal. As explained that Hitachi is a conglomerate covering the variety of products and services, but we started more than 100 years ago as a company providing services for the copper mine. Ever since we are providing varieties of products to social infrastructure. For example, energy systems or the railway or computer systems and so on. Since we are providing services for the society, we think the environment is a key issues to tackle with. Otherwise, nobody want to buy our products. With our digital technologies, we are providing the product and service more efficiently and environmental friendly. Let me explain one example. For example, I want to explain about our energy grid business. People know that for the decarbonization, the renewable energy is very important. But there's several problems which makes that difficult to introduce faster. One of the reasons that renewable chooses a place. You cannot produce renewable anywhere. You have to produce somewhere which is full of sun, which means somewhere in the desert, or windy areas like offshore sea. But you cannot just produce the power over there. You need a grid to connect those areas to the city where the people lives. And it's not so easy because if you make a long distance line, power will lose in between. So you need a very efficient grid systems. And sometimes it's going under the water. It also needs some special technology to convey powers. Our HVDC technology can convey those power more efficiently than traditional power lines. And by doing that, we try to introduce more renewable energy into the market. But there's some other issues to tackle with, because energy grid itself cannot produce energy renewables. So even if we make some grid, nothing happens. We need a collaboration with all stakeholders, producers of solar plant, wind power plant, grid companies, and grid producers like us, and consumers. If the consumer doesn't want renewables, even if we make this whole systems, people uses some power from the fossil fuel energy. That's a total mess. So here I want to stress the collaboration is very important. And we are doing some collaboration project, and I want to explain later. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I'm really proud of having such a Japanese company to contribute the global pledge of the tripling renewable energy. So we can see that these three companies is taking approach which is in line with their materiality or their own business. So then next, Ori-san, Chief Analyst, Executive Managing Director of Rating and Investment Information. So as the financial service providers, please share your insight. How these companies' actions are now evaluated in the market.
Thank you very much to introduce me. My name is Ori from Research and Institution Information Research and Information Institution, and so-called R&I, and we are the one of the credit agency in Japanese market, but also we are giving some service on the ESG finance. And we usually provide a second-party opinion, so-called SPO, to each companies. So I'd like to explain our role for the financial market and view for each companies. But you know, Asahi-san and NYK-san and Hitachi-san is a very important client for me as not only the rating business, but credit rating business, but also the ESG business. So. Today, I am very feel honored to join this table. And when I know that each company have a marvelous strategy to go to the net zero. I really understand it. But when I introduce these companies' strategy to the market, so for the founder, the investors, we have to review these strategies in line with the international standards. So always, each company usually makes the financial frameworks, and we discuss about what kind of frameworks each company made and what they want to explain to the investors. And we check these frameworks in line with international standards such as ICMA or CBI or EUGB or the other international bodies set up each standard. So we are, as a reviewer, we consider check the holes, these standards, and how to we support how to explain to the investors and write down to the second party opinion. That is our function. So so it is very important to what kind of intention the international standard have. And in these days, the financial scheme, not only the GSS, so-called green, social, or sustainable, but we are now, the market focus is now focusing on the so-called transition finance or sustainability linked finance. That area is very important. As for the transition finance, in the first step, the first transition finance is not the same finance as the green finance, but after the international discussion, this transition finance is integrated to the green finance by expanding the the definition of this green, what is a green project, or what is the items, or what is the element, or something like that. So when we explain the transition finance, not only about what is the project they want to do, but also what is the commitment of each company's the management they want to do for the net zero goal. Of course, it should be in line with 1.5 degrees target. So anyway, we have to check all the strategies, and if we have to supplement some explanation on each frameworks, we will provide that in the SPOs. That is our first function. And the other function is, as for the sustainability linked finance, the company should set the KPI. KPI should be linked to the materiality of each companies. So materiality is very important, and ICMA already set up the KPI registry on their guidelines. So KPI registry shows so many KPIs in line with each company's, what is the characteristics or something like that. And then, so in this KPI, it should be explained in line with the explanation given by the SASB or TCFD or in these ways, also including the scope 1, 2, and 3 in line with 1.5 targets. So it is very difficult to, every company should obey such kind of rule is very difficult, but I know every company try to make a progress in each areas. So we have to understand what is the direction of each company want to go, and what is the progress, and what it should be, the investor have to understand each company's, effort or the result of the management. So we R&I want to contribute each companies to explain to the investors in that way. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So during this COP, we heard a lot of about importance of the transition or transition planning, transition finance. Yes, thank you so much for your insight. And today, I have Kamira-san with regional engagement and EPRG manager of UNFCCC Race to Zero. So she has been looking at the non-state actors' activities around the world. So I'd like to hear from you that what is required of the non-state actors in the world, and what do you think of the non-state actors' activities in Japan?
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. I will explain a little bit what is the climate champions thing, what are the high-level champions, and what is Race to Zero, just to put in order why I'm here. In really simple, when we celebrate that process, we have always the presidency, that is the one that mobilizes the parties to have a really concrete negotiation and outcome from the COP. But the presidency always asks a high-level champion that was created in the Paris Agreement to mobilize the all non-state actors. And the purpose of doing that is we know that parties need a lot of ambition, but they can't do without the implementation of what happened in the real economy. But someone needs to mobilize, someone needs to guide them, and we need a lot of ambition also on the ground as voluntary action. So the high-level champion was created in the Paris Agreement to mobilize all non-state actors to increase their ambition and accelerate their action. In 2020, toward COP26, it was created a team that support the high-level champions because they wrote it as same as the presidency wrote it. And we launched the Race to Zero campaign and the Race to Resilience campaign. The Race to Zero is an umbrella campaign that is joined by 25 partners. One of them is Jci. that each partner have a methodology how they are mobilizing their own members to reach 1.5. And what do Race to Zero is support all these partners with an unified criteria with different pieces. The first is pledge, then you need to plan, then you need to proceed, then you need to publish, and then you need to persuade. And each partner is aligned with that criteria and they mobilize their own members. So if I'm not wrong, GCI have like 36, something like that, members that are already committed with 1.5. And all these members are aligned with the criteria that Race to Zero have launched. So that's the beginning. And well, now we are celebrating that we have 5,500 members all around the world, where I would say like the 80% are business. And regarding this percentage of business, the 90% of that are SMEs. So who are now leading these transitions are the companies and are the heart of the business that are probably SMEs that probably you have the same like. And how we can connect this, because we have financial institutions, company, large company, SMEs, micro SMEs. We also have cities, regions, university, health institutions. So how we can connect all these non-state actors to collaborate and to move and support what the local government, and also as here we have very multinationals, all the other frontiers to accelerate that ambition. And when you are here presenting your commitment, your progress, you show and you support also how need to be the system be moved in order to achieve 1.5. And that is the purpose that is behind Race to Zero. I have been learning a lot in that panel because I have been here like almost 8 days since the COP start, and I'm hearing all the time how we need to collaborate and show how we're progressing toward 1.5, but also where are our weaknesses and where are our barriers and where we can move if someone else don't move, if we don't have the technology, if we don't have the regulation, if we don't have the support of the government. So it's now when you share, it's like, I have done a lot, but I can move farther if you don't support me on that. And when we start sharing that progress and we start collaborating and we want to do alliance together, is when we can achieve 1.5. So I recognize a lot the work that you're doing, mostly like going really granular. And just I want to celebrate because we are making a working group that I invite you everyone to join, is how we can also include the concept of fair share, equity, and justice into the net zero journey that is not mentioned in our criteria, and it's a gap that we need to address, particularly toward COP30, but because it's so important, which is the responsibility of each member and how each member can achieve 1.5 with their own enables, with their own condition, and we understand in the phase that are. So I really celebrate that what you did it like distributed in different goals for different countries regarding that context. And we are here in a global context where we speak like everything in the average, but we know that the average is built from different locality and reality that we can't make it for obvious. It's like we need to go deeply in the context to understand where the enables that territory has to mobilize. And that's what I was speaking with GCI in terms of like, you can understand the global and put it immediately into the local. So I really celebrate the statement that you did it, because it's how you can understand what you have, where are you assets, how you have been mobilized, what are the barriers that you member have, and go for the government and say like, I need your support in A, B, C, D. And as more tailored you can share what you need, the more possibility of being successful in what you need it is. It's like, you just can say like 1.5 is too broad. So how we start like speaking about where are the path of decarbonization and where are the enables and where are the supporting technology that we have is the most that we can start making progress.
Thank you so much, Camila-san. So I really agree that the collaboration or engagement is a key to accelerate our actions. So in the Race to Zero criteria, as you said, we have pathway. So in my understanding, this pathway means policy engagement. So I'd like to hear from you more deeper perspective of the pathway. And could you explain more about any importance of the collaboration or engagement?
Yeah, I think I did a bit of a trailer about the Persuade because it's in the center of the race in terms of like how we collaborate. But the Persuade P was bringing into the criteria when we updated after a consultation that we did in 2022 and how we enhanced the criteria, bringing all the barriers and probably like at the beginning when the IPCC said that the difference between 1.5 and 2 degrees was like immense, and we really need to go deeply and straight to 1.5, and that means like halve the emissions in 2030 and reach net zero by 2050. But there are many ways or like things that need to be embedded into this journey. And we updated our criteria, so we have now the 3.0 criteria, and we updated the Persuade P. Why we did that is because we know that without regulation, without policies that are aligned with 1.5, the voluntary actions are not going to be possible. And as we in the Climate Champions want to persuade this ambition loop, when you show the action that non-state actors are doing voluntarily, and it's like more like training, gaining the muscle, then when the regulation start like bringing all the critical mass that the government has, like we know that voluntary action probably it is a huge ambition, but not many actors. And when you have regulation, probably you have like a lot of population, but not too much ambition. So it's a trade-off. But if the leaders that are here moving with a lot of ambitions are the leaders, the ones that are in the front of this career, can show how they're implementing, now the voluntary and the mandatory policies are going to be implemented easily, because already you have like some training into the society that can move faster when the mandatory is. But if we don't have policies that are aiming to reach decarbonization, probably the voluntary action is not going to be enough. So we create this Persuade because in order to create these ambition policies, we need an actively engagement from the companies or non-state actors that are already facing that barriers to do this positive ambition lobby in order to show where are the barriers, where are the opportunity, and what that policy need to address to be more ambitious. And it's also not with policy, because if you want to decarbonize your supply chain, you need to engage with your supply. You need to engage with the government probably that has a tax that is impossible to address. Or I don't know, like you have some barriers because you're not alone in that society. And we have identified that the most ambitious company or actor that tried to reach 1.5 with the condition that we have now is not possible. It's like a huge gap regarding what the curve need to be, what the curves have been doing. And all these like area need to be mobilized in a collaborating way. And that means like, as I mentioned, show your weakness and try to leverage it when someone that can accelerate or move the demand, and also start making multi-stakeholders conversation, bring your state, bring your mayor, bring your cities, bring the SMEs, support them, do capacity building. It's like we can try to do this in a solid way.
So your global comprehensive overview is very helpful for us as well. So Ori-san, what does the market see the importance of the collaboration or engagement?
How can I say? And usually, our business, like SPO, should be given to each companies. But when I look at the scope, not only scope 1 and 2, and also we have to see the scope 3. We have to see the whole value chain of each company. It is not only this big company, but also there are so many SMEs around this company. So we have to understand such kind of situation, I think. And for example, ICMA set up some guidance for the green enabling activities. This means that here's some upstream companies which give some materials to this big company, and this company act as an, a green bond, a green project or a transition project. They can explain their own green effect, but it is a little bit difficult for this company who give the material to this company. And so we are, previously, we also try to explain the contribution of each company, to realize this green effect. But ICMA in these days show the guideline how to explain to the investors for this company who gives a green enabling project to this company. This is the enabled green project company, but this is a enabling company for this green project. So like this, in the market, we are trying to, give some, tools or explain way to the investors what kind of value they have to the, supply chain or value chain of these green line. And also, we, R&I also provide so many SPOs to the SMEs also, because there's so many banks in Japan, they give us loan to so many SMEs, and they also try to explain what is their project value for the ESG. And also, we have to consider each company's scope, not only the scope 1 and scope 2 and scope 3. For SME, to explain scope 3 is very difficult. But nowadays, so many vendors try to, produce the, how to measure the impact or something like that. So not so speedy, but there's some progress has occurred in each supply chains. So we have to explain what is the effort, what are they try to do in the, to measure not only the scope 1, the scope 2, and the scope 3, or this what is happened in these sectors. We are trying to explain, discuss with each companies, and give some review for each company's activities, and explain to the market, not only the financial institution, but also the investors. That is what we are trying to do. So to catch the comprehensive GHG net zero way, to find out the net zero way is very important to touch with the market.
Okay, thank you so much. So next, I would like to ask you, Kishimoto-san, because you said earlier that you have some story about the collaboration. So could you give your detail?
Thank you very much. As I mentioned, collaboration, I think there's where we have two types of one. And the first one is, as I mentioned, to make the, for example, some kind of energy project happen to decarbonize whole system. You need a collaboration with whole supply chain stakeholders. In that sense, we have a kind of a forum, social innovation forum, every year, Hitachi hosted, and inviting all the customers and other stakeholders to discuss about how our infrastructure we provide should be by presenting our solutions there. It targets not only the environmental aspect, but we cover all the values social infrastructure provides. But by discussing that, we change the products and closer cooperation with our customers and our suppliers, we can change whole our products in environmental friendly directions. The other collaboration I thinking about is collaboration with more broader societies. It's not only for the social goods, but it's also important for our own climate target. We have a climate target of net zero by 2030 for our scope 1 and 2, and net zero by 2050 for our scope 1 to 3. Why our scope 1 to 3 target is 2050 is because it's not so easy, because almost of our scope 1 to 3 emission is coming from scope 3 downstream. The electric use of our customers. And most of the customers, even if they are not get renewable directly from the renewable producers, we need a change of the whole grid systems. As you mentioned that it's easy for the country like in Europe, but it's not easy for the, probably in Japan, but for the most of the Asian and African countries. So we need to change the whole energy system to achieve that. But if you do that, you need a government and others, stakeholders, to involved in to switch to that direction. In that sense, we started a forum with academia. For example, we studied Hitachi Tokyo Laboratories, collaboration with the Tokyo University, to discuss about energy grid system to achieve net zero. And by discussing with a lot of professors, we learn a lot about the difficulties of doing that. And also we can make some proposal, inviting the government official there to further discuss about how to cope with that issues. And by doing that, I think we can change governmental policy in a way which will introduce more renewable energy.
Thank you so much. And I also would like to hear from Kono-san, Nippo Yusen. Could you please share how the engagement activity is important in your activity?
Yes, and as I explained before, and we try to promote alternative fuel like the ammonia, and but reality is, and we cannot replace the current fossil fuel, that 240 million ton per annum of the marine fuel, with the one single alternative fuel, ammonia. That's why we try to use the biofuel or the green methanol or the ammonia, green ammonia, so on. So then that means that the optionality is very, very important. And also our vessels are called in every port in the world. So then the availability of the alternative fuel is essential. So in order to secure the supply of the alternative fuel, we need to collaborate with the suppliers and the producers and other energy players, and in order to have the critical mass. Otherwise, then the price of the alternative fuel may stay as high as possible. So then the critical mass and the scalability is very much important. So in that sense, for instance, the ammonia fueled vessel, we are working together with the engine manufacturers and the shipbuilders, and also the supplier of the ammonia, green ammonia. Now, the energy companies and the Japanese power generating company, they are interested to use ammonia for the power generation. So then the working together with the players, we can secure the ammonia at a relatively reasonable price, or sometimes we are ready to participate in the production project if that's necessary to expedite the production of the ammonia. That's one of the attempt we are doing. And also the other point is the rule making. And at the moment, probably some of you may know or may not, and the regulation for the shipping should be decided by the IMO, as I said. But in the EU, they introduced the so-called EU ETS for the international shipping. So from this year onward, we have to pay for the carbon allowance or the emission allowance whenever our vessels are according to the EU. But if the other region or the other nations will introduce the similar, regulations, we have to cope with every regulations, the slightly different regulations by ourselves. It's quite burdensome for us, and also it's very much complicated. So that's why we are working together with the Japanese government to advocate and unified global rule should be introduced under the IMO. That's one of our activities, working together with the Japanese government and also the other NGO of the shipping industries. That's kind of the collaboration we are doing.
Yes, I quite agree about policy harmonization is the key to accelerate the action. So what do you think of the collaboration or policy harmonization in your business, Preeti-san?
So all the esteemed panelists have covered collaboration with government, collaboration with academia, collaboration with nonprofits. So let me not repeat that because it is important. I think there's another level of collaboration that is happening already, but it's not recognized as much. So we all compete, right? When my product is better than yours, when we are in the market with Heineken or Carlsberg or any of the others. But when it comes to sustainability, you will be surprised by the level of collaboration that you will see within the industry. Camilla's here, so I don't know if you remember, Camilla, when Race to Zero was launched, we were there with Heineken, with Carlsberg, with AB InBev together saying Race to Zero is important. When we got a very interesting offer for a carbon neutral malt in Netherlands, both Heineken and Asahi supported that initiative. And I think you were talking about how Hitachi is looking at energy, right? Renewable energy, and you need a tipping point. You need a solid mass to be able to make that move. I don't know if some of you remember in Europe, there was this North Sea wind project, which was supposed to generate a lot of renewable energy. And if you look at everybody who is supporting it, they are all competing with each other in the market. We were in the play as well, but we didn't need it eventually. But the sentiment, what I'm trying to say is when it comes to sustainability and climate change, we may be competing on profits and revenues and sales, but we are absolutely collaborating on solutions. I mentioned the recycling plant that we have, the biggest plant in Australia. Guess who is our partner? It's Coca-Cola. The joint venture is with Coca-Cola there. The work that we are doing in Europe in one of the projects, I would have never thought that Microsoft needs to be our partner. But it is our partner in doing some of the technology work around sustainability. So I think it's a really good moment to think beyond the box, to think at the potential partners who we may not have partnered with earlier, but they are there on the table right now. And I think I recognize the challenges that SMEs have, especially in our supplier. We're all global companies. We have, I'm sure, more than 35,000 suppliers. And you're right, our scope 3 is higher than 80% of our overall emissions. One thing maybe I can share we did this year is in January of 2024, we created a new Asahi entity called Asahi Group Procurement in Singapore. And the only job, the only purpose of this new entity is to work with all these 35,000 suppliers on sustainability, on efficiency, on helping them get their data, on helping them reduce their footprint. And the best part is, which will work for all businesses because we have to make profits, is that we have seen incredible cost efficiencies come out of the project as well. So it is a win-win, but it needs us to think a little bit differently. Doesn't mean that we need to stop what we were doing. We need to keep collaborating with governments, nonprofits, academia, but there is more room for innovative collaboration as well.
Thank you so much. So actually we are running out of time. So, but at the final topic, let's expand the scope of our discussion to nature, because today, actually COP has each day has each theme, and today it's the theme is biodiversity and nature. And we have recently the COP16 in Colombia, the biodiversity COP, and we see a lot of increasing recognition of the interconnectivity of climate change and nature things. So I would like to highlight something about nature today. And especially Asahi is depending on the nature capital. So could you give your story about the nature activities?
Happy to share. But I'm sure all of you, when you pick up a bottle of beer, you don't think about nature, right? You're thinking about having a good time. But every single product, you pick up a cup of coffee. I want to be about non-alcohol as well. You pick up a cup of coffee and you don't think about nature. Every single product that we make is heavily based on nature and agriculture. We don't recognize it as consumers sometimes. But as a corporate that is so dependent on the fruits of agriculture, we recognize how crucial and important it is that we work towards it. And not only we reduce the harm, we do good. So it's not just about reducing emissions and coming up to net zero. How can we be more regenerative in nature? How can we foster biodiversity? How can we foster reforestation? That's the principle with which we look at nature. And we've started a few projects on nature specifically. We did a project in Czech Republic with our farmers who were farming hops. I don't know if you know hops. It's essential ingredient to making beer. And we put sensors in the hops farms. It's been 3 years in the making. And now all those hops farmers can look at the water consumption, look at their carbon footprint, and they're actually actively reducing it. It's not that, oh, it's good for Asahi. It's actually good for the farmers. And they supply to other companies too, right? So it's a multiplied positive effect when you think about nature. The other project that we've done is in Italy. It's called Campus Peroni. It's with all the barley farmers in Italy coming together to just learn some basics around compliance, data, regulations. What do they have to do? And it's been running for 4 years, and it's been so successful that now it's part of the government program in Italy. And some of the municipal corporations are there. There's so many examples. We run a water program in Netherlands, which has nothing to do with carbon emissions. It started by access to drinking water. And I was so happy that some of you mentioned the social aspect of sustainability, because it is as important as environmental. So yeah, for us, nature and biodiversity is not, oh yeah, good to do. It's a must do. It's absolutely essential to what we do. And because we are so heavily focused on agriculture, most of our nature work is focused around the farmers. But we are also looking at the farmers' mental health and well-being as part of the same projects. And the last bit I'll share with you on nature is, if you ever visit Japan or Tokyo, please visit our Asahi forest. It's a beautiful piece of work. It doesn't make a dent in the carbon emissions, but I think it's so incredible to connect with nature before we sit and talk about nature and the footprint of nature. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Then I would like to ask you, Kono-san, as well. What if you have any nature-related activities towards achieving net zero? If you have any story, please let us know.
In terms of the international shipping, and one of the issues is the ballast water treatment system, and probably it's a little bit of technical issue, and the vessel has to keep the stability during the navigation. in order to stabilize the vessel use and water, taking water and discharging water time to time. So that means those water will be, brought from other place to the other place. So it makes some impact on the marine environment. And so then in order to discharge the ballast water from the vessel, the ballast water treatment system has to be installed. And in order to sanitize and disinfect the water before the discharging. So then we NYK install those systems on board all the vessels by the end of this year. It's a little bit ahead of the industrial standard or the tendency. That's one of the kind of the regulation issue. And on top of that, we are working together with the academia and to support and collect water sample which contains environmental DNA and so-called eDNA. And we participate in so-called Japanese biodiversity analysis project, so-called Anemone Consortium. And some Japanese universities member of those consortium. We are collecting seawater from all over the world. And they analyze what kind of the environmental DNA is contained in the specific area. That's one of the kind of the activity we are doing. And also the other point is the microplastic floating in the ocean, sea. And we are also working with one of the Japanese university who is analyzing the microplastics floating station. So then our vessels are collecting already the sea waters from the 200 points all over the world. We are increasing the sampling and support to the academia. That's our activities.
Thank you. So both water and plastic is very critical problem among the world, I think. So Hitachi, from Hitachi, if you have any nature activities incorporated into your business, if you have any story, please let us know.
Thank you very much. Since decarbonization is not the only one environmental issue to solve, we put nature positive, one of the several pillars we have to pursue in our environmental plan. And nature positive is definitely the one very important pillars. And we believe, because Hitachi is a company who is using the digital technology to monitor things and find out the best solution of it, we could do a lot of things for these areas. Let me explain some examples. One is a blue carbon project we do. And in this field, I think the collaboration with the local government is very important because nature is different from area to area, and we need to find out the best solution for that areas. And the blue carbon project we do in Japan, in Osaka areas, the western part of Japan, we started this project together with the local government, also the Osaka University, to find out the best water quality for the Osaka Bay to grow the seaweed and come back the fish to the Osaka Bay. In addition to fixate carbon dioxide into the water. Because Hitachi have 100 years of experience of water treatment businesses, we monitor the water quality and especially the salt and nutrient in there, and find out the best quality of the water when the water quality is changing according to the weather. Unfortunately, believe or not, because population is increasing and the people use that water, and we we make the water clean before throwing it away. The water quality was getting good, but it's not good for the lives in the water. So sometimes we have to control how degree that we make it clean. And in summer, usually it was rainy, so and a lot of water delivers nutrient from the mountain to the river. So we have to make it cleaner at the sewage point. But in winter, usually the rain is less, so we have to decrease the level of the regulation or the control things to clean the water, which makes even the winter that seaways can grow at the same level. That's one observation, but we are proceeding that project to make it a more better ecosystem of the Osaka Bay. Another example we are doing is a forestry project in northern part of Japan. They are doing those projects not only for the CO2 fixation, but mostly for the water reserve or the keeping the ecosystem for the animals and others. We help those projects by measuring the what kind of impact those projects has on the forestry preservation, and also some calculation to help them to get the carbon credit from that project, and helping the finance, a part of the finance of doing that. These are some examples of our trial for the nature positiveness, but we are looking for others.
Thank you. We have now another example of the forest. It's good to hear. So, Ori-san, you can give us some your thoughts on the nature things in the market evaluation. So, if you have any small story, that will be appreciated.
Okay, thank you very much. As for the biodiversity, from the world market point of view, sometimes it was said that it is difficult from the bankability or credit evaluation, or it is very difficult to find out the logic tree for the not only the outcomes and the impact. Well, what is the consensus of the this project should be can have in this area or something like that. This point is a very difficult problem, I think. But in Japan, the truth, in Japan already from 2022 to 2024, more than 80 bond was issued under the biodiversity and ecosystem and blue finance. And Japanese government already set up some regulation and laws to promote these areas, but movement already occur in the Japanese market. Maybe the first leader for this market is the municipality, as Kishimoto-san said. The local government is a key player for this market because they are traditionally doing some service on the pollution or prevent the liver from the pollution to keep the biodiversity in the area. So so many municipalities already issued a bond under the biodiversity was blue finance. And as for the company side, a little bit difficult issue is, we have to explain these biodiversity activity or blue finance activity in line with connected with the materiality of this of the company, and we have to the company should explain directly linked to the corporate value. So maybe, but today I convinced that all these big Japanese companies have a a very good value for each area's business. For example, so I can convince myself through today's discussion. For example, I would like to show one example. We alumni offer the first Blue Finance opinion to the Maruha Nichiro. They doing some salmon aquaculture business, and it is very good activity for the blue other blue activity. So we give the Blue Finance in line with the international standards. So Japan is surrounded by the very huge sea area. So there's some companies which have such kind of intention to make good impact on the environmental or biodiversity issues on the Japanese in Japan. And I myself believe that in Japan, always some problem occurs, such kind of pollution or some COVID-19 or Tohoku earthquake. Always we are trying to give some solution to these problems, but we are always paying attention to the biodiversity and how to keep the environmental issue. So we have some, we Japan ourselves have some value to solve these problems. So we would like to set up some, clear framework to solve these problems and expand to the world. It is very important for us. That is my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So at the end of this discussion, I would like to hear from Finance Kamira-san about I think in the race to zero, the nature thing is also important. So I would like to have your suggestion to the non-state actors on the nature things.
Thank you. Yeah, in the criteria of race to zero, we have like the starting line, where is the 5P that I already shared with you, but we also have an encourage non-state actor to take action in the leadership practice, where in each P we recommend like how you should address nature, how you should address the fair share, equity, and justice, how you need to collaborate, and we try to guidance a little bit how this journey needs to be embedded with other actions to be more integrated, because it's too difficult to dissociate like what you're doing in A without seeing what is happening in C and D. So last year, our high-level champion, Razan Al-Mubarak from COP28 launched the call to action. It's called Nature Positive for Climate Action, because it's not possible to achieve 1.5 without nature. I think it's not possible to achieve without RT 1.5 without like measuring all the other fronts that we need to solve as social aspect, nature and collaboration and policy. And this action is try to guide us, particularly business and financial institutions, in 5 asks. The first one is how you include nature in your transition plans. So if you're going to share how you're going to decarbonize your supply chain or your like scope 1 and 3, you need to put how you are going to address and include nature in this path, because you can't sacrifice one under the other one. The other one is how you're going to set a nature target, and it could be like flag, as I know Asahi has one, and or with state-based target network that include land, water, and ocean. The third one is how you are going to disclose what are your risks regarding with nature with TNFT. The fourth one is how you invest in nature, and as you are saying, like how you are going to create your portfolio, how you mobilize beyond your value chains, different projects that are invested in nature. And the fifth one is particularly for financial institutions is how you are going to commit to stop deforestation in your supply chains. And you are going to have like a bold commitment, and you're not going to mobilize your money where there is a risk and a huge risk for deforestation. So that company was launched last year. We have like over 150 companies and financial institutions. And this year in COP29, we launched that we increased that number to 500. If an institution and business is still a lot to still growing, but I want to mention that regarding these 500 company institutions, 130 are already raised to zero. So we have 130 leadership practice that are companies that are achieving net zero, including nature.
Thank you so much. So at the end of the this COP, I think we all are inspired by these impressive speakers. So please give the big applause to them and for the thank you.
Thank you so much for inspiring and encouraging session, all the panelists and moderator, Miyako-san. So please go back to your seats. Actually, we have running out of time, but please allow us to have some more minutes to make closing remarks. So I'd like to invite, I'd like to invite Toby Walker for closing remarks. He's working for a climate group and he's Toby Walker, Senior Manager, International Advocacy Climate Group, and he's working with leading companies and subnational governments to make a positive impact on decision-making processes on climate policy and climate action. So please come to the podium. The floor is yours.
I always need to adjust the height with a microphone. Maybe it's easier. Hello, can you hear me okay? Great, great. Yeah, so first off, just to say a big thank you to all our panelists for their excellent contributions to this important discussion today, and also to JCI for putting on this important conversation. As Ken mentioned, I'm Toby Walker, a Senior Manager for Climate Group. We operate the largest network of states and regions in the world, the Under 2 Coalition, including Gifu Prefecture in Japan, just the one prefecture in Japan that we're hoping to mobilize more in order to connect them into our global ecosystem of states and regions. We also operate on the other side business networks, including the RE100 initiative, and it's great to see some members here today in the crowd from that particular case, which has over 85 Japanese headquartered companies signed up alongside 120 global companies reporting operations in Japan. But that's enough about me and what I'm doing. I think we've heard loads of great inputs today on the need for a nuanced country approach if you're a non-state actor operating around the world, and factoring in the policy environment within that approach, as it's always different in each market. We heard about the importance of international frameworks and factoring that into your approach in a country, underpinned by market-specific KPIs and tangible actions to take that international framework to the non-state actors' role and work within a market. We heard about specific unique challenges across different sectors, and then also promisingly really unique solutions on those different sectors or themes, such as the case with nature. And I think underpinning all those points, there was a real consistent theme throughout this discussion on the importance of collaboration. Collaboration with the government on issues we're facing, or collaboration between different non-state actors. And I think that's really the main takeaway for myself from today's discussion. But to build upon that, I want to just share that I was fortunate enough to spend 2.5 months in Japan earlier this year. I didn't get to visit the Asahi Forest, so I will have to go back. But we were speaking to many non-state actors as part of that trip to try understand what are the policy barriers from RE100 member companies' point of view with renewable electricity procurement. And really, we made a long list of the issues, and we've produced that and shared that with government. But really, it boiled down to 2 key things. And that was that non-state actors were not involved in the decision-making process with Japanese policy making. So that's the first key one, and a particular example with the current nationally determined contribution that's going on and unfolding. The second one was on the need for greater ambition to align government plans with 1.5 degrees and to follow the science in that regard. And I think an important part of that is that many of the non-state actors, businesses, subnational governments, CSOs were really moving ahead of government. And so that's a really important thing to also keep in mind, and why that collaboration across that level is so important. I can share the statement of the more detailed recommendations, but 60 companies put their name on that statement to be more involved in policy making, sent to the government, and following that, there was closed door conversations with key decision makers in government. So it just goes to show that importance of mobilizing these actors to get involved in the work that matters at that level. But really, there's just a need for a constant push from the leaders in this room and across Japan in the non-state actor space, and to underpin that leadership, that work with clear communication between one another and strong collaboration on the important work that is happening. So once again, thank you to all of you for taking that leadership role. And together, I really think can do a strong path to 1.5 degrees in Japan and across the world.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Toby, so much for your inspiring, encouraging closing remarks. And I think that it is very critical for JCI to have global initiatives like Race to Zero or Climate Group that is mobilizing a lot of net zero initiatives and also non-state actors across the world to make a greater and wider impact on climate policies and climate action. So I think there are more things that we can do together. So, and we look forward to future collaboration. Thank you so much. Okay, with that, we conclude the event today, and please enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much.